My dear friends, myself Dr. Pramod Kumar Gupta and I am inviting Dr. D.N. Sansanwal sir for today's program. Welcome sir.
Dear friends, I hope you are able to see this file, or let me once again share with you. I hope you are able to see this particular file. Okay, yesterday I had told you how to analyze the data and how to interpret the data. Now, if you have any question to ask before I proceed further, please ask the question and then I will proceed. आपको किसी भी एस्पेक्ट से एक्शन रिसर्च के किसी भी पहलू से अगर कोई सवाल पूछना है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं। आप चैट बॉक्स में लिख दीजिए और मैं वहां से पढ़ करके आपको उसका आंसर बताने की कोशिश करूंगा। मैं वेट कर रहा हूं, अगर बाय चांस आप में से किसी ने if you have to ask any question related to action research, you may ask. I'm waiting for another 1 second. I wait, otherwise I will start. Sunita, I do not think you should ask your students to do dissertation using action research. No, Pani, in action research, you have to take the group as it is existed. There is no sampling. Only the sampling is whatever the group that you are interested in, because you are the teacher and you are teaching. You cannot take another group which you are not teaching. Yes, only teachers can do it. That is correct. The other person cannot do. Absolutely no. If you are the teacher, you can do it. No outside person can do the action research. What outside person can do is any other research, maybe experimental research or whatever it is. So I will request you not to ask your students to take up action research for the dissertation. Otherwise, they may not get good marks. And dissertation is important at master's level. So therefore, the marks are very important. So do not unnecessarily ask your students to do the action research. No, actually for paper also, I don't think you can write a good paper. If you want to write a paper, you can write a paper and NCERT publishes the journal and your paper may be presented only in that. Otherwise, no. No good journal will publish the paper where action research has been carried out. For simple reason, because people cannot benefit from the action research. Because action research cannot be replicated. Because action research findings cannot be used for generalization. So Jyoti, thank you very much. So any other question, any other doubt, if you have, you can keep on asking during my lecture and I will try my level best to give the answer to the questions which you have. Now, what I will like now is, I tell you a few things. Number one, your size of the group will not be very, very large in action research. Because action research has to be done with your own students. And I do not know whether you have a very large group. This is one important thing. Number two is, you may like to only involve those students who require some different type of the treatment, some different type of the handling of them, teaching of them. So therefore, the number of the students may not be large. And action research can be done by the principal also, can be done by the teacher also, can be done by the management also, no problem. But when they are doing action research, it is for the benefit of their own. The benefit cannot be extended to the other institutes. That's very important. Now, I think that I should tell you how to write the report. If you have to write the report of the action research, then how exactly the report should be written? The action research, when you are writing the report of the action research, so you have to understand few things. Number one, when you are writing the report, it will not be like the dissertation which you do at a master's level at any, whether MEd or MA or whatever it is. So it will not be like that. The appropriate tool is only the test, not the scale, not the inventory. Only test and test and test. Nothing else. Why? Because you can only bring change in the understanding level or knowledge level of the student, which belongs to the cognitive domain. You may not be able to carry out action research where you want to bring change in the affective domain or the psychomotor domain. Will be very, very difficult. So therefore, the tool which you are using will only be the test. My dear friend, I do not think any teacher will like to do the action research and where you can be the co-author. No, because action research is, I will tell you, it is not at all a good thing. It is only to improve one's own system, nothing else. If I want to improve the teaching in my class of that particular topic, then I can do action research. So therefore, I do not think that your guide will do action research and will write a paper, and where you will like to be the co-author. You can be co-author, no problem at all. But I do not think that your guide will write a paper after doing the action research. He will not do action research. He will do some other research, survey research or experimental research. Why should he do the survey, the action research, which is not of much importance? So please do not understand that action research can be compared with other type of research like survey research, like historical research, like philosophical research. The answer is no. So I hope that now you are clear about few of the things. See, other students, if you like, you can give them other activities, or you may like to do that action research not in your regular hours, maybe before your real classroom teaching starts. If your school starts at, let us say, 10 o'clock, you may like to call the student half an hour before, and you may do that. Or if it ends by 4 o'clock, you may ask the student to stay for another half an hour. So this is how you can manage. That's not a problem. Or otherwise, if you do in the regular one, then you have to give some assignment to the other students. Or if you like, you may ask them to sit there and to listen to you, but you may not take their scores into cognizance or their scores when you are analyzing it. You take the scores of only those students who are weak. So these are the few things which you can do. Number one, you may have your action research class before or after the school hours, because it doesn't take much time. Number two, you may have it in your regular classes where your all students can be there, but take the data of only those students whom you think they want that type of treatment, and let others also take the benefit of the treatment. No problem. That you can do. Any other question? Any other participant? Sarangi, I hope you have understood. Dr. Sandesh Acharya, in action research, I do not think that people will be standardizing the tool. No. Because standardization itself is a Herculean task. And I don't think in action research people use a standardized test. No. Why? Because when a particular topic, when the students are facing the problem, you cannot develop tool and take 3-4 months, and no, it's not possible. So in action research, you will not be using any standardized test. It will be the teacher made test or researchers made test. It will be the teacher made test. Because you are not standardizing test for the whole of the, say, content. It's only for a specific content. And you may not require the action research for the whole course. It may be on a few specific topics where students are facing the problem. The number of questions I cannot tell you. It depends upon what is the content. How much is the content that you want to have. So depending upon the content, you may have the question. Number of the question is not important. Important is the coverage of the content, whatever content you want to have during that action research. Joshi, I have said, in action research, you cannot use scale. And scale only have a 5-point scale. It has to be test and test only. The difference between test and the scale is that the responses in the test can be designated as correct or incorrect. But in case of a scale, you cannot say whether response is correct or incorrect. So in action research, only tool to be used is a test. Apart from test, you cannot use scale, you cannot use inventory, you cannot use schedule, you cannot use questionnaire. Absolutely no, you cannot use interview schedule, no. Priya, we are only talking about the action research. If you want to know about the other research methods, right now my other webinars are going on where we are talking about all other methods. So in action research is only and only experimental, number one. Number two, the whatever the finding you have, it cannot be used for generalization. You cannot study the reaction of the student, Acharya. You cannot study the reaction of the students in action research. There is no sense. No, there is no sense. Because what will you do? Because this whatever reaction you take, this reaction is not going to lead anywhere, and you will not know what type of changes you should make. No, there is no sense of doing it. See, action research is never to be done for the dissertation, neither for the paper and neither for the thesis. Absolutely no. Because the design which is used is called pre-test, post-test, single group design. And this design is very, very weak design. It has very weak internal validity, very weak external validity. So the design is a very weak one. And in research, in the experimental research, you should not use such a weak design. But in action research, you can use, no problem. Because in action research, that is the only design which is applicable. There is no other design which is applicable. So that is the one. Any other question, any other participant like to ask? Okay, if there is no other question, then let me go ahead. Now I'm telling you how will you write the report. And this report which you are writing, this has to be written under the different captions. And it is not like a dissertation. It is not like a thesis. It is very, very small. Because the purpose is very different. So here, when you are writing the report, it is 1.0.0. You say introduction. Now here, you have to write that in this particular report, this report is related to whatever the topic that you have taken. Let me take one topic which we have already taken. Say, let me take this effect of teaching aids on achievement in volume of cylinder. Then I can say the action research was done related to effect of teaching aids on achievement in volume of cylinder. achievement in volume of cylinder of class 9 students of DAV school. Now this you can write the opening sentence. In this report, the information or this report is being written under the heading of, or in this report, the information related to one is a rational, you can say, or you can say need and importance. And before that, related to concepts used, then rational or need, then statement of problem, then objective, or if you have objectives, hypothesis or hypothesis, whatever you have. Okay, then methodology, then data analysis, and results and interpretation. Okay, and finding. Finding or findings, whatever that you have. So these are the different headings under which you can write the action research report. Sunita, action research online, if you want to do, then you can do, because right now the students are not there, so you are not going. So if you want to do, but you should understand that you cannot, online teaching means only your own class, not anybody else. And if you are taking your only class where you are teaching the subject you are teaching, then you can do it. Otherwise, if you are doing, then online research can be done, no problem at all. But that will be either a survey research or an experimental research, will not be the action research. Actually, what feeling I have, you people have not understood the difference between action research and the other researches. Because the type of a question you are asking, that indicates that you have not understood the action research. Although today the 4th day of my lecture, but I think still the action research concept is not clear. Every day I am telling you, even when I took the data, when I wrote the title, when I wrote the objective, I wrote it very clearly stating it is only A, and where you are teaching. If you are a principal, if you want to do, then wherever you are principal, you have to do there only. So that is a feeling which I have. Otherwise, such type of questions should not come if the concept is very clear to you. Never don't mind, you can keep on asking question and I will try to reply. So online classes, if they are going on right now, and if you think there is some topic in which majority of students are facing problem, then you should think, how should you teach online? What should you do? Okay, there can be various things. You have to think. I can tell you many ideas I can give, but it's better if you start thinking. Because without thinking, you may not get ideas. So that's what you have to do. Now, if suppose I want to do a research related to this, which I have said, effect of teaching aids. So I may like to tell, if I say it 1.1.0 and if I say 1.2.0, now maybe I will like to talk about something about teaching aids. Okay, say use of the teaching aid or benefit of the teaching aids or utility of the teaching aids. You may talk about something like that if you want. So therefore, you can say the utility or benefit of teaching aid, whatever heading you say, utility of teaching aids. So you can write, what are the utilities of the teaching aids? I cannot keep on telling you, you have to write that. Now, another thing, if you want, then you can do. If you do not want, you need not to do it. Because sometimes the school teacher may not have the facility of different journals, because schools hardly get journals. Maybe a few students so therefore the related literature you should not have it because it's not possible. So after that, what you should do is that you have, now you say the rationale. Rationale means you have to write why you thought of doing this. You may cite various examples of your own class. You may give the last few years, say result or the test which you have taken, and where you find that the students have not done very well on question related to the cylinder, volume of cylinder. So therefore you should highlight that. And once you should do that, then after that, you should write the statement of the problem. Statement of problem. And this report which you are writing, it is in the past tense. So you should say the problem problem was worded as given below. So you can say a study of this is the statement of the problem. After that, it is 1.2. No, I think I should 1.3.0, and this should be 1.4.0, and this should be the 1.5.0. One means it is only the one report, no problem. Now here, now I should write my objectives. You may not have many objectives, at the most 2 objectives, otherwise one objective has to be there. Then you have to write the objective was worded as given below. So you can write the objective. Okay, that to compare mean scores of achievement in volume of cylinder of students before and after teaching with the help of teaching aid. And then is 1.6.0, and that is hypothesis. And you say the following was the hypothesis. And that now you can write that there is no significant difference in mean scores of achievement in volume of cylinder of student before and after. Now after this, then it is 1.7.0, and you say methodology. And under methodology, okay, you can say the details of methodologies are given under caption, say sample, say tool, say experimental design, procedure of of data collection and data analysis. Now, it is 1.7.1. Now, first is your sample. Now, because you have taken the sample from your own school, so you can describe how many students were there, what type of, say families they belong, do they belong to rural area, what have been their past performance and things of that variety. So that all that you can describe. Then about the tool, then you know that the topic was the volume of cylinders. So related to this, how many questions you wrote and whether these questions were of multiple choice type or what type, and whether you gave them some, say, will there be a fixed time or not? Okay, how the scoring. So you know all those details about the tools that you can write, so that under sample, you should write that how many students were there in the class, and out of that, how many were having the problem related to the volume of cylinders. Understanding of the concepts of volume of cylinders and doing numerical problems relate to the volume of the cylinders. Okay, and then whether all were boys or girls, whether they belong to the rural area or the urban area, what were their performance if they were studying in the same school for the last 3 years, then you can have there, or if they were not studying in your school, then you can say these students shifted from the other school, shifted from primary school, shifted from private schools, or shifted from the government school, whatever it is. So try to describe your sample in as much detail as possible. So that is what you have to talk about the tools. And you have taken your intact group, whatever the group was available. So it was a purposive sampling that you have used. Now, then about the tool. So how many questions were there? What type of questions were there, whether multiple choice, short answer type, or what were the weightages, how much the time that you have given. Then after that, you should write the experimental design. And in the experimental design, I have told you that you have to write that this action research was done by using pre-test, post-test, single group, pre-test, post-test, single group design. Okay, the layout is as given below. So layout is like this. You say O, then treatment, and then O. And then here you have to describe what was the treatment and what did you do in that treatment and how long that treatment continued. So all those details you have to give here under the experimental designs. So the treatment, the name of the treatment, then the duration of the treatment, what was the condition under which this treatment was given, all those type of the things you should do, and you should say that the pre-test was done, then treatment was given, and then the same test was administered again at the end of the treatment. So all these informations that you can write. Then 1.7.4 will be the procedure of data collection. Now you have to write how exactly you collected the data. You should describe exactly the way you have collected it. And then another will be data analysis. Now that you have to find out, in this particular case, you should write the data were analyzed with the help of correlated t-test. That's all. No need of giving more than that. And after that, then comes your 1.8.0. And that will be results and interpretation. And now the results and interpretation, exactly the way which I did earlier. You know, so because for this I don't have the data, so therefore that was male and female. So whatever I have done, so you can write that. So results and interpretation, you can do the way we did it. Let us see, do I have another one where we did? I think this is the one. Oh, that is achievement in spelling. So that is achievement in spelling I have done. So I think you understand that. So you can write, because I have not done for this. So therefore, that's all right. Now, after you have written the results and interpretation, then it is 1.9.0 is your finding. Mostly it will be the finding, it will not be the findings. So you can write the following. The following was or were the finding or findings. That's all. You write the finding 1, 2, whatever it is. So this is how you should write the report, and that completes. If you have any other question to ask, you may ask the question, otherwise we can close. if there is no other question. Komal, it is the teacher-made test. It is not the standardized test. No one uses the standardized test. It is only the teacher-made test that will be used. Okay, any other question? Any other participant like to ask? No, Jyoti, synopsis is very different. Synopsis is written in the future tense. There is no conclusion here. You can write finding. No, you can do even if you are in the office, if you are in IT company and your company is facing a problem, you want to do action research, you can do, no problem. Rational, you have to write why you thought of doing this research. So that you can write after finding nothing, that's all. In the procedure, the way you have collected the data, you know that how you gave the treatment and what was the duration of the treatment and how many days you did it. So everything you know, so therefore you can do it. There is no trend here. No review is required in this particular case. Because you will not have the researches related to the action research. So no review at all. But if you are keen to use some of the researches and you say you have got an idea, that you can do, but otherwise it doesn't require any review of the related literature. Review of the related literature in your other type of research, not action research. Yes, the introduction which you have to write, you have to write all those information what I have given. That is the introduction. And then you have to take one by one, whatever the headings you have written, and then you write that. No, it's not cyclic in nature, Pani. It is not cyclic in the sense because the same students will not be there. Next year, it may happen that again the students may find the same type of problem. So yes, Komal, it is always null. You cannot have a directional. So therefore, if next year when the new students come, and if they also face the problem in the same topic, then you may, depending upon the characteristics of the student, their background, you may like to think something else. Let me tell you, action research is not possible without thinking. Shirley, it is not published because it is of not much use. People cannot replicate. I cannot tell you the sample. It depends how many students you have. I have taken a sample of 10. So it all depends how many students are there. It is not that survey type of research or experimental type of research that you are doing. It is a very, very specific research that you are doing, and it depends how many students are there. You have not to take students from some other place. No. So there is no approximate sample size. Whatever the students are there and how many you want to involve in that action research, it depends upon you. No, you cannot replicate, you cannot generalize. If you want to take 40 students, if there are 40 students in your class and all of them are facing the same problem, you can take 40, no problem at all. But if only 10 students are facing problem, then you can't take all 40. You have to take 10 only. No, Sunita, please, I don't know about the seminar related to the qualitative research. I absolutely have no idea. Yes, only purposive sampling. In this particular case, there is no other sampling because you are interested in doing that action research in your own class. So you can't take a random sampling, no, stratified sampling, no. So only the non-probability sampling technique you have to use. Probability sampling technique you cannot use, and therefore it is only if you take probability sampling technique and whatever the data you have and whatever is your finding, that you can use for generalization. But for non-probability, you cannot. Absolutely no, because they do not really represent the sample to which they belong. So it's not possible. Okay, any other question? If no question, then thank you very much. Nahi, anonymous, there is no review of related literature इस particular case में. अगर आप लिखना चाहते हैं तो वो लिख सकते हैं, अदरवाइज तो जरूरत नहीं है. If you want to learn the qualitative research, then I don't know, because qualitative research, somehow I do not have a liking for the qualitative research for simple reason, because its finding cannot be used for generalization. So what is the sense of doing a research when you cannot add to the existing knowledge? So it has a very different orientation. So therefore, I really do not like. No, I don't think if some journals are coming, then that's their headache. But I don't think there is much utility of that. But if there is a journal and if you want to publish a paper, you can publish, then no problem at all. But at least I do not know. Jamal, if you know the name of the journal, you tell me the name of the journal of action research, because I don't know. Okay, if there is no other question you want to ask, then thank you very much. And keep learning, stay safe, because there is no end to the learning. So keep up learning as much as you can. Okay, thank you very much.